Welcome to 49ers After Dark. Grant Cohn, Jessie Naylor. The reason we're 5 minutes late is because I was sitting at my computer waiting for Jesse to sign on, and he was sitting at his computer waiting for me to send him a link, and I never sent him a link. It was my fault. I forgot.
Minor details, Grant. It's not that big of a deal.
Anyway, we have a great show planned for you tonight. It's called Why the Odds Are Stacked Against the Niners Winning the Super Bowl, because just when you were feeling the best, Jesse and I want to come through and make you feel your worst, because all hope is lost. Forget about it. We're going to get there.
Zero chance.
Yeah, zero. We're going to make you wait for that one, because that's a crowd pleaser. But first, we're going to build you up just to tear you down and start by ranking the potential playoff teams in the NFC. I wrote NFL. I'm going to fix that. NFC. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's include, because there's a couple teams that still have a chance. Detroit technically does. I don't think they do. I'm gonna throw them out. I think it's down to Green Bay and Seattle, because even if Detroit beats Green Bay, then all Seattle has to do is win, and they're in as well. So I'm gonna assume that Detroit's out. Sorry, Detroit fans. And I'll go from worst to first. I think right now I would put the Giants last. I would put Seattle right above them. Then I would go with the Vikings. I would go with the Packers, the Bucks, the Cowboys.
How many teams are you listing? 8?
Well, there's 8 teams.
8? We're doing 8.
The reason I'm doing 8 because Seattle and Green Bay are fighting for the last spot. So technically that you should rank.
I'm already confused. Okay, fine. All right, I got it. I got it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, uh-huh.
You're like,
so I got to factor it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, all right. I literally explained it, and then
hey, touche. All right, fine. Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember where I was at. I think I was at the Bucks.
Sorry, I got confused.
Cowboys.
The Bucks number 3.
Eagles, 49ers probably.
Okay. Do it again since I interrupted you, and people need to know your exact
Let's
ranking.
Go again.
Yeah.
Starting from the bottom, 8 teams, Seattle and Green Bay also included, because they're fighting for the last spot. Okay, I'm going to go Giants, Seahawks, Packers, Vikings. No, excuse me. Giants, Seahawks, Vikings, Packers, Bucks, Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers. That's my power rankings.
You like Bucks, huh?
I do. Actually, you know what? I think the Bucks are going to upset the Cowboys in round 1. That's my bold prediction for round 1.
Oh, I saw you tweet that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I got. 8-1. Seattle. 8. Not impressed.
Okay.
They're rebuilding. They're like a good story for a rebuilding team.
They
are. Miss me with that Geno Smith stuff. The Giants, number 7, another great story for a rebuilding team.
Agreed.
The Bucks, number 6, not buying that team. Something's wrong with that. I think he's out, and I think they know it, and I think that team is just broken. Minnesota, number 5. I mean, they got waxed by Green Bay last week. They got waxed by Dallas recently. I don't think they're real. I'm gonna put Green Bay 4, Philly 3, Dallas 2, 49ers 1.
Oh, yeah. Philly 3. Okay.
Well, I mean, they're imploding right now spectacularly, but I'm thinking Jalen Hurts is going to come back at some point, and with him, they're better.
They are. They also got 2 real key cogs off of IR today, and it sounds like
I know who they are, but you say who they are for the people who don't know.
Well, I'm trying to remember who it is. I know it's their pass rusher they traded for from the Bears.
And, Quinn.
And who's the other one?
Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah, they got 2 people. Lane Johnson's also supposed to be back.
Good. So is all right. Yeah. Okay. Green Bay, I have it 4 because I think they're better than Minnesota, even though Minnesota's going to win that division. I mean, they just beat them 41-17 last week. That's a statement win.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
That's huge.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is if the 49ers and Packers match up in round 1, which is highly likely at this point, they're playing, in your opinion, the 4th best team in the NFC round 1.
I think so. I think I mean, I think you like Tampa Bay better. We saw the Niners just destroy Tampa Bay. I'm not sure the Niners would destroy Green Bay like that. I don't know. I love their running back, Aaron Jones. I love their defensive back for their secondary. The quarterback is decent, and he seems like he has two pretty good wide receivers that can get down the field, in Dobbs and Watson.
I mean, of the teams that they could play, Green Bay is by far the most complete team. They have a good offense. I wouldn't pick them to
beat the Niners. Sorry.
No, not by any means, but they are the most complete team. The reason I'm going with Tampa is because when the 49ers played them, first of all, they lost Vita Vea immediately in that game.
That's true.
Both their starting safeties were out. Murphy Bunning was out. And they've gotten all those guys back, plus Tristan Wirfs, who was also out, is now back, which is helping the offensive line big time. So
so the team I saw isn't the team that they are. I have a skewed perception. Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
And obviously, I would pick the Niners to beat them. I just ranked them number one, but I just feel like the Bucs are like that one team. Yeah. It seems like this happens every year, where there's a team that just doesn't seem like they belong, yet they find out a way to win.
They get healthy at the right time. Right. Yeah, you bring up a really good point. I mean, I have Dallas too, and you think they're going to beat Dallas. So
I do, yeah.
Maybe it's going to come down to the 49ers and Tom Brady. It just might.
Oh, what a story.
The Niners might have to go through Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady to pull this off. And Patrick Mahomes with little Brock Purdy.
Hey.
He might really pull it off too.
That'd be crazy. That'd be what a story. You talk about a story. That would be a story.
It's only getting started, right? All right.
Yeah.
So before we get to the playoffs, the Niners have to play a regular season game against the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. And it feels like the Cardinals are tanking. They're starting David Blau. That's how you pronounce his name, Blau.
Yep.
And he's 0-6 in his career. He kind of feels like a Nate Sudfeld human tank type. Anyway, the Niners have to play this game, and they have to keep their team healthy. They got to win while keeping their team healthy. Who would you not play in this game if you were Kyle Shanahan?
Coach? Let's assume I think Debo, because he started to practice a little bit last week, if I'm not mistaken. He was showing up at practice. This week he's been there. I would prefer to get Debo some reps. That's just
me too. Why?
Why? I think they should play Debo. Not a ton, but if they can get him, I don't know, 4 to 6 touches.
I don't even care about his touches. I want to get him snaps. I want to get him conditioning.
He's
done nothing this year. He's done nothing this year. I think he should play. I want to see Debo out there. Like, don't risk him. Don't run him between the tackles. Don't do anything crazy. No. But let him run around a little bit and break a sweat. I think it would be good for him because the Niners just might have a bye week.
I agree. So I prefer to see Debo play.
Yeah.
I would sit Christian McCaffrey because he's a little bit nicked up. He's got the ankle.
Let's linger there. Okay.
All right.
That is the one guy I would sit. That was the one guy I would sit. He has been working his ass off the last 2 months. He 50% of the touches go to him. And great. I mean, he's been healthy, but ankle injury, knee injury. Right now, doesn't mean he can't play, but he's not 100%. I think the 49ers, he's done enough in the regular season. He should be the one guy who gets the entire game off. Christian McCaffrey, he's done enough. You want him fresh for the playoffs. He's not going to be rusty. I didn't know Christian McCaffrey that well before he came here, but he is a pro's pro. He's going to be ready for the first playoff game. Give him a freaking breather.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think he needs it. I think the one thing we've talked about down the stretch is his usage rate seems out of control. Way too high for what we would like. Where's Mason? We've been saying, where's Mason? Where's TDB? Or TDP? Can anybody else get carries other than this guy? It's absolutely crazy. This is your 1 week you can make it up and just let him sit and be fully ready for the playoffs. I agree.
Because Mitchell's coming back. Debo's coming back. Yep. You still have Mason. You have at least 4 running backs plus Juszczyk that you can give carries to. Plus, the end around to Ayuk, the end around to Gray. You don't need Christian McCaffrey to beat a tanking Arizona. Please give him the day off. Okay, who else?
Do you expect Mitchell to play? I know he's there in practice.
I kind of do. I think for the same reason as Debo, just get his feet wet, give him a few snaps, let him run around a little bit. Nothing too risky. But I kind of think, especially if Kyle's agreeing with us that hey, this is a great week to give Christian McCaffrey the week off. Well, you might want Mitchell out there.
I agree 100%. So, okay, I'm fine with that.
Because again, Mitchell has played 2 games this year. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
he's got tread in his tires. Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah, if he's healthy, I would like to see him play as well. And then I'm gonna load manage like crazy. I'm gonna load manage like crazy with guys like Bosa, Armstead.
Hold
You
on.
can't really do a lot with the
Let's come
secondary.
back. Let's stick with Bosa for a second.
Okay, let's talk about Bosa.
He wants to break records.
I don't care. And the reason he wants to, the reason he wants this is because he wants that payday. I understand it.
No. It's a record. It's history. Remember
He's
when
not
we were
break-
kids
Okay.
and Michael Strahan was on the cusp of breaking that record and Brett Favre straight up
took
laid
the
down
fall.
for him?
Yeah.
He did. Like, it's important. And you know if it were you, you'd want it, man. And if your coach wouldn't even give you the opportunity, I don't know. I know it's not the goal of the team, but they got to. That's a delicate situation.
4 sacks away though, Grant. Like, is he gonna
But
get
he
4
said
sacks?
what he said he wanted the franchise record. He said he wanted
Okay.
Alden's record. Was he a
Okay.
sack and a half away?
Something like that. What's that? Yeah,
You
what
got to
did
give him the
Alden get,
first
19?
half at least. If he ain't getting no sacks, then bench him. But I don't know. If I were Bosa, I would walk into the coach's office and be like, "Look, I understand. Give me 20 snaps. Give me 20 snaps. Come on." It's
That's
history.
what I would tell him. I would tell him you've got 1 quarter to get a sack. If
All
you
right.
get a sack in that time, we'll keep you out there until you get that
right.
record.
Fair
if
enough.
you don't, you're sitting.
Fair enough.
That's how I So that's
Fair
fair.
enough.
I
Fair
got you.
enough.
That's
Fair
totally
enough.
fair. I was gonna say because if it's about getting paid, like Bosa's
No,
he's
not-
gonna get
no.
paid. He's gonna
It's
be the
freaking
defensive player
history.
of the year.
Look, as an athlete, I wasn't a great athlete, but if I could break a record, I want to break that damn record. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I mean, Bosa's gonna break that record anyways, like the 49er record anyways. Maybe not Strahan's, but he's gonna break that 49er record. This guy's elite.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll play him a little bit.
Yeah, we'll give him.
You
a
said
chance.
Armstead? You said Armstead?
Armstead, I would as well.
What about Kinlaw?
No,
You need to keep playing him. He needs playing time.
Kinlaw needs as many
Yeah.
reps to get.
Fair
The problem with Kinlaw is that, and again, it's not his fault, but he's had no time to develop and grow.
Right,
None
right,
during the offseason. All of his development has been like practice during the season. And
He's the defense's version to Trey Lance, straight up.
yeah,
The hard luck version. Yeah, straight up. Yep.
So
yep.
he needs. I'm not saying play him like crazy and wreck his knee. But if he can get snaps, get him as many snaps as he can, and feel good about it. So
All right.
I think Fred Warner, I would do the same. I would load manage. I think Aziz certainly can play some snaps. I just don't take. We have almost 0 topics on Arizona other than over under. We don't take this game seriously. There's no way they should lose this game. No way.
No.
I know we
But
said
that
that about
being
the
said-
Raiders, but this
That
is
being said,
different.
they just made Jared Stidham look like Aaron Rodgers, so don't make David Blau look like Joe Burrow. I don't know. Don't do it.
And
they
that's
won't.
fair.
They won't.
But Hopkins isn't playing. Yeah, I mean, who do they have?
Also,
they don't have Waller and Adams.
Blau has started 6 games. There's tape on him. There was 0 tape on Stidham.
Right.
Also, I think Stidham might be good. I don't think Blau is good. I like
Yeah.
Stidham. Stidham is their Purdy. They should go with
We
him.
talked about Stidham last week.
We did. That
played-
being
he
said,
played
I
great.
liked him coming out of college, and I have the receipts, but I don't have a good track record, so I'm not going to try to brag. Let's answer some questions and get back to our show. Niners Dodgers says Green Bay is coming in hot. They have won 4 in a row, and they do have that quarterback who's pretty good. Niner Gang Wolfcast says time for Ward and Gibson to be the safety tandem. Stop anticipating my topics, damn it. We're going to talk about that later. We will, but just forget that ever happened. Niners currently plus 550 to win Super Bowl. Bet big now. Well, not according to the information we're going to give you later. So just chill. Wait on that bet. Jovel Bennett says, yo, I just checked in. Think about this. If Peyton takes the Cardinal job, is this by far the best chance to win the Bowl? If not, Trey Lance might be scooped by him. Thoughts? This is definitely a great opportunity to win the Bowl. Because Sean Payton is coming back. I don't see why him or Harbaugh would want that job or the one in Denver. Those seem like the worst jobs.
What else is out there? I mean, what's a good job that's of the Saints? He's not
Any
gonna go back to
job
the
where you're
Saints.
not locked into those 2 quarterbacks at that price point. Any job with a clean slate. Are you kidding me?
Harbaugh
How are
might
you
end up in
supposed to-
Carolina.
I'll take it. I'd rather do that. Start
Yeah.
over, man. Start over. And rather than your job is to come over and salvage the Russell Wilson experience, good luck. Making $50 million a year. Good
Do you
luck.
think there's any? What if Harbaugh brings back Cap to be his backup quarterback?
I was thinking that today.
That would be so
on the
awesome.
same team. It'd be great. It'd be wonderful. Wave 9 Mystic says Grant knows how I feel about Green Bay. He's been calling it for weeks. Best way to transition to Trey Lance if Purdy flops. Last year, the score in the playoffs versus Green Bay was a close game, 13-7. Yeah, that's. I think it's important to remember, like, this regular season has been really, really entertaining and unexpected and great. But so was last year's. And ultimately, what everyone on this team will be judged on is the playoffs. So we're just waiting for the real stuff to start. It's kind of like It's kind of like the NBA. None of this is really that important until the playoffs.
I feel like Green Bay is dangerous because I think they're going to be loose. And Aaron Rodgers can't beat San Francisco. So if he doesn't again, no big deal. They're not supposed to win that game. They're coming in on the road. I feel like they're going to be loose. I don't think they win that game, but I do think that they're more of a live dog than what I think most Niner fans are giving them credit for, because the 49ers always own them. You know what I mean? I don't think games last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 7 years ago matter. This is one of those situations where it's like, shoot, I mean, it's still Aaron Rodgers. The team is the best it's been all season. They're hot. I'm not saying they're great, but they are a hot team, and they have nothing to lose. They really have nothing to lose. They did not. Most people didn't expect them to be in the playoffs the way they started. So,
and again, if Jared Stidham can put up 34 points on the 49ers, what can Rodgers do? I mean, it's a fair question. Right now, the Niners' defense is definitely concerning. So I expect them to shut down David Blau this weekend, but they haven't done it yet. Keith Murphy says, I agree, give CMC a bye. I think we can all agree on that. Keith Murphy says, depending on his back, give Greenlaw a bye too. Of course. Agree with you. Jovel, I got you 20 snaps, 10 routes, 5 looks, 10 blocks, 5 non-throwing routes. Thoughts. I like that. That's fair.
Give him something. He just needs something. Yep. He needs something to get back out there.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I agree. Keith Murphy says, have we looked who's close to certain bonuses? Reception sacks. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's something Kyle has to look into. I'm not privy to that information. I like using the word privy.
I don't think. I feel like a lot of the contracts probably don't have that written in. I mean, other than Debo and his rushing stuff, we know about Jimmy's, but a lot of these guys are still on their rookie deals. A lot of the Bosa, Ayuk, they're not. You know what I mean?
I want to give you a fair warning. Ever since Ice Cube and Too Short performed at halftime, these live streams just devolve into rap discussions at a moment's notice. So you got to be ready.
Oh, yeah.
In case it happens.
Totally fine.
Gunzy says, rest Bosa second half, give Drake Jackson all the reps. Yeah, I think that's fair. But tell Bosa you got a half to break that record. Because honestly, to me, you didn't break the record. Alden Smith did it in 16 games. It's over. You lost. So if you want to take the record in the 17th game, that's fine. But there's always going to be an asterisk next to it. So to me, you know what? Nick Bosa
he
shouldn't
sat
play
a
at all.
game. He did sit a game. So it's technically 16 for him.
Good point. He's back in play. All right, fair enough. Yeah. Marcus says, watch both channels every day. Jesse's a real one, the only weekly guest left since the player fiasco. Both of y'all keep up the great 49ers content.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Jesse's great. Isn't it amazing how eager a ton of people are on Twitter to dunk on me ever since that happened? Anytime any tiny little thing happens, I'm like, whoa, it's crazy.
This is why first of all, I try to have grace for people because everybody screws up at something, first of all. And I don't think you were in the wrong. Let's be clear about that. But I screwed
up. I screwed up for sure.
There
were things I would take back.
I was very candid with you.
But the thing that was great about it was the next day, me and him sat down. We talked it out. We shook hands. And then it just took on this life of its own on social media where people wanted to talk about it, but it was actually it was a thing between me and someone else, and we handled it like men eventually, which I'm proud of. So I understand that everyone had an opinion about it, but at the same time, it was a personal matter between two people, and we handled it. So people that overreacted, I felt like, okay, that's your issue.
Yeah, I just like the way that when I reflect on that situation, first of all, I was very candid with you. We had a personal phone conversation. We talked about it. But that as a friend, when people are like perceived to be down, that's the last time you turn your back on someone. Like that's when you double down and show that you're a friend. So that's just the way that I look at life. Maybe not everybody does the same thing. But
It wasn't lost on me. The people, look, I was toxic. I am toxic still. I've been toxic for 6 months. And look, I understand the people who look at me that way and distance themselves from me, and the people who have my back. Because I never asked anyone to defend me. But the people who kind of slyly distance themselves from me, I noticed it. And it's like, okay, hey, that's your business. But we're not friends. That's not what a friend would do. I wouldn't do it. Anyway, I don't know how we got on this, but all I'm saying is appreciate you. Jarrett friggin' Stidham better than Derek Carr.
no,
He was better than Brock Purdy this weekend. The dude was good.
He was.
He's got a nice arm.
I can't do it when somebody comes in and has a good. When you make sweeping judgments based off of a game or a couple games, Carr has a whole plethora of games that we can look at where he's had some good games. He's been a top 12 quarterback multiple times in this league. He's been a Pro Bowler. I'm not saying Stidham can't be better, but come on, game.
Hold on. Here's the thing though. With Carr, he has scar tissue, kind of like Jimmy. Carr doesn't want to get touched. Carr's gotten hurt. And there's like stats out there that he has very few passing yards on plays where he gets touched. Stidham was getting, he was getting like knocked around, and he was fighting for extra yards. Not that he should, but he was very tough in a way that, like, honestly, I'm not going to call an NFL player soft, but Carr might be the least tough NFL starting quarterback, the least tough. So Stidham was an upgrade right away in that. Like, just like how Brock Purdy was like an obvious upgrade over Jimmy right away. Stidham looked like that to me. And, there was a time where Carr was a hell of a player and a Pro Bowl player, but that was like 5-6 years ago. He is not the same, and I feel like he's avoiding contact on the football field.
I don't disagree with that. My whole thought on Carr, though, is that team could not have been in a worse situation than they were last year.
That's true.
That whole organization from top to bottom was so bad. They found a way to make the playoffs, and who was the glue of the team? It was Carr. It was Bisaccia. Devontae Adams came there because of Carr, and I feel like the way the situation was handled was so out of pocket, especially from a guy in what has McDaniels done as a head coach in this league other than ruin a franchise already? That's just my
fair. Okay, a lot of moralizing there, but would you want to bring him in as your starting quarterback next year?
I mean, as my starter, there's guys I would take above him. I would take him over Jimmy without hesitation.
I wouldn't want either one, me personally. Matthew Sanders says, nobody holds a grudge like Rodgers. I want no part. Yeah. Get that number one seed.
Okay, hold on. Like, he can hold a grudge all he wants, but he's being taxed by the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, nobody folds mid-game like Rodgers either. 2.0H says, schedule on Sunday sucks. Why is GBDT last? If Seattle loses, DT has nothing to play for, and Sunday Night Football would suck. NFL can't let that happen, right? Rams win. I don't know. Yeah. Ramelia, can your team not suck for 1 week this year?
ASA reporter, the most losses ever by a defending Super Bowl champ in the next year. Oh, that's terrible.
What are your thoughts on Skip's tweet? My dad said it earlier yesterday. People say awkward things in the moment of tragedy. It was awkward. It definitely didn't capture the gravity of the moment. And he tweeted it. It's different than saying it. And then he stood by it because you don't want to, back down to the mob. But it was insensitive, for sure. But people, I feel like you say awkward, insensitive things in really unprecedented, tragic moments. No, everyone wants to feel like you have the grace and poise to be perfect when something that you're not prepared for happens. Right. But most people don't. And then a lot of people freaking tweet it. And then it's easy to be like, well, you freaking suck and I'm canceling you. But, what did Obama say? Like, Christians, you're a Christian. It was all, one of the main tenets is, he who has not sinned cast the first stone, right? But in this social media age, it's all about casting stones from your. So, I mean, yeah, he could have been more sensitive for sure, but I was getting canceled for an hour that night because I tweeted something I didn't even know that happened.
I know.
I was at dinner.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go in on Skip.
I'm not gonna. Here's the thing: is that tweet by itself, I don't think is as alarming as people are making it sound. But this Skip has a history of saying outlandish things at the worst time. So that's
he tries to ride the
fence
and he tries to be controversial. And I'm sure he loves all the attention he's gotten. He's been trending for 3 days. He's probably gotten better ratings. Like I'm not trying to knock Skip because he invented kind of this whole format. And the thing about people I hate Skip, cancel Skip. Like, dude, you hang on every word he tweets and watches. Like, I don't watch the show, you do. And if you and like you say cancel Skip and just like get him off the show, he's the bad guy. He's Scarface. Say goodnight to you need the bad guy on the show. That's why Shannon's there. He's the voice of the fan to be like, Skip, you're wrong here. I hate you. Like, you want the bad. It's the same reason that Simon Cowell is famous on whatever that show is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's that guy in sports. Yeah. He's the bad guy.
Yeah. There's always and there's athletes that are like this. Floyd Mayweather is a great example. How many people tune in to watch Floyd Mayweather lose all these times and he just never did?
It's exactly. So. Dude, I've spent hundreds of dollars on pay-per-views hoping he would lose, and then at the end be like, "What was I thinking?" He's Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, he's not
going to lose. No pressure. The defense is cooked. We're gonna try to fix it in a minute. Are the Lions DOA? Their head coach is Stone Cold Steve. Grant, is TK as big a jerk in person as he is on Twitter? No. He's actually a quite nice guy. Jovel Bennett says, "I got you, Grant. I'm a Yay area native. Love the hat. Jesse coming to Florida this year. Let's hang."
Hey, hit me up. DM me.
Mason with 20 touches this week. Book it. No, it's going to be Ty Davis Price because Kyle is a troll. I don't feel the Packers were A-Rod's daddy. Greetings from the 305. Kind of are. Chuck Birch says, "Follow my Niners and Grant Cohen all the way from the Philippines. Go Niners, baby." Thank you, Chuck. Patrick Moody says, "If Trey Lance be traded from the Niners, who will be the most ideal team?" Who's going to be the first team that calls the Niners this year and be like, "Hey, man, is he available?" Who would be it? That's a good question. I don't know.
Saints.
I guess it depends on the coach. Saints a good one. Adam Gardner says, "Fernando, California love for Super Bowl run out song." Oh, man. If they started, that would be great. If they came out to Fernando by ABBA. I think that would be the hardest thing of all time. All right, we're 30 minutes and let's get into our third topic. Has Kyle Shanahan cemented himself as a top 5 head coach in the NFL?
Oh, gosh. This one's actually tough because I was trying to go through my mind and think of top coaches right now. Guys that I would for sure take ahead of him. Of course, Bill Belichick. Of course, Andy Reid. Of course, Mike Tomlin. And then I probably Pete Carroll. And then I just sat there on that fifth one. I'm like, who for sure would I take above him? And I'm not saying he's in there for sure. He hasn't cemented himself. I guess to answer the question, he hasn't cemented himself because I can't say for sure he's 5. But man, he's getting close. To me, I don't even think he has to win a Super Bowl to necessarily get there. He's getting close. Ooh. He's getting close. And let me say this. The only reason I say that. He doesn't have to win a
Super Bowl to get there? Are you serious?
Hold on.
Are you serious?
Hold on.
Okay. Right.
The reason I say that, I should say he doesn't have to win a Super Bowl this year to get there.
To be top 5? Okay, all right. Well.
Because Brock Purdy, first of all, third string quarterback, what he needs to not do is have happen what's happened every single time that he's been there and they've choked. You cannot have a big lead again, lose that lead, and blame whatever the circumstances are. You can't have that situation happen again. You can't have a first round exit. I think anything barring those two things, God, he's right there, man. He's got to be right there. He's got to be. I think he's coach of the year still.
Coach of the year? Yeah. Maybe. Here's how I look at it, though. This tiers. Top tier is Belichick and Reed.
Okay.
That's the top tier. The second tier, to me, is coaches who have won one Super Bowl.
Okay.
Except for Mike McCarthy. I can't put him in the second tier.
I can't either. Mike McCarthy. I just don't buy McCarthy.
Everyone except Mike McCarthy. So that's Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, Sean McVay, and Doug Peterson. Say what you will about any of them. They freaking sealed the deal one time. And then to me, the tier 3 is guys who are like on the cusp and could do it this year. Kyle, McDermott, Sirianni, LaFleur, Zach Taylor, Dayball. Like, that's the third tier. The guy that's like that could be the guy that wins a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And then there's McCarthy. I think he's trash. I don't know why. I think he's.
I'm not a big McCarthy guy.
He's so bad.
You know what?
I like his team though.
To be fair, I did completely forget about John Harbaugh. So I would put Harbaugh there too, probably at 5.
I did win the Super Bowl, although someone tweeted that the only reason John Harbaugh won this. Someone tweeted that John Harbaugh is a loser, and the only reason he ever won a Super Bowl is that he beat his brother, who's also a loser. And I was like, that's a good point. There's a point there. I don't know. I don't think John Harbaugh is ever going to win another Super Bowl. Like, if you were going to say who has a better chance to win a Super Bowl in the future, John Harbaugh or Kyle Shanahan, I'd probably go with Kyle. And that's why you might argue that Kyle is this top 5 head coach. But to me, you got to accomplish it, man. Like, if you're going to go off regular season record, he's like 3 games over 500. And if you're going to go off postseason accomplishments, he hasn't won the big prize. So he's on the cusp.
Yeah, he's right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't cement him there. Like, he hasn't cemented himself, but man, he's right.
It's like the double Dutch. Like, he's just like
coach for coach. I'm taking him ahead of McVay, but McVay has the hardware. So what do you do? You know,
and like he's having a bad year. This is his first one. Kyle's had multiple.
Yeah,
but now that he's got Big Brock, he may not have another one.
He's by the way, I also feel like McVay's a front runner. I feel like he's going to be out. I think he's done.
Maybe I can see that. Ben says straight brim hats are butt, and you're probably right about Mason.
Hey, I love straight brim hats. I got about 1 million of them. So I guess I guess I'm a butthead.
Tiny Boner Coner says, "Yo, it's Kinlaw. What's up, Javon? How you doing, baby?" Yeah, because it rhymed. Rick H says, "Love your hat, Jesse. Can we get Grant to wear one?"
Just a flat brim or like one of these. He's not Christian, so that's not fair. You don't want.
What if I wore like a Jesus also hat? I mean, my mom was Catholic. I'm down.
I like
not Jesus only, but Jesus in addition.
Also, yeah. In addition to Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Okay. This is interesting to me. Last couple weeks and last couple of months, the Niners secondary has been getting exposed. It's only been certain quarterbacks who've been able to pull it off, but wide receivers have been getting open against the Niners secondary, particularly deep. And people have been asking, like, what do you do? What's the adjustment that you make? What should D'Amico do? And the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that the problem is Talanoa Hufanga. And he's a Pro Bowler. He's a great story. He's a great guy. He knows Troy Polamalu. But it's just that he hasn't had an interception since week 10. And since then, he's given up 5 touchdown catches and a passer rating of 144 according to Pro Football Focus. And it's not just that he's like getting beat. Like Diamador Lenore gets beat, but he's there. He's just like getting beat at the catch point by better players, and it's hard to knock him. Dude, Talanoa is like not even in the picture. He's busting coverages weekly, and he's getting beat for touchdowns. I'm starting to think that they might need to bench this guy. What do you think, man?
Gosh, man, this one's tough because I really do like Hufanga, but let's take the sample size real quick. You talked about the touchdowns. First of all, he's only given up 7 catches in the last 5 games, but 5 of them have been for touchdowns. If you look at Talanoa Hufanga's season, it's a tale of 2 stories. First 11 games, 404 coverage snaps, 1 touchdown given up, 4 interceptions.
Dude, dominant. All pro.
Dominant. Yeah,
dominant.
All pro. Everything that I mean, just incredible. Last 5 games, only 211 coverage snaps, 5 touchdowns given up, 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
The regression is real, and teams have, figured it.
And again, if he were close, if he were in the picture, I'd be like, hey man, it's bad luck. But he is busting coverages every game. Every game.
Yeah. But then he's also the guy that can go get you I mean, he does break up a lot of passes though too. You know, he's
He
there.
does. Let me present an alternative to you.
Okay, yeah, that's just it. If you're gonna give me a problem, I need a solution. What's the solution?
Okay, what's the solution? The solution is bench Talanoa, move Jimmy Ward to strong safety, play him alongside Gibson, and move Womack. You could move Womack to nickel, or you could move Lenore back to nickel and play, Janoris Jenkins outside. I wish I had something better to say than Janoris Jenkins, but you could do that.
Okay.
Or you could stick with Lenore. I mean, Lenore hasn't been awful. He's not great, but he hasn't given up a touchdown this year. He's not terrible. He's not beating you. He's not getting you killed. You could put Womack in the slot and move Ward back to strong safety. Why not that?
Okay, what about this? Let's meet in the middle here. How about you don't bench Hufanga, but you put Ward back at strong, still keep him at strong, and when you go single high, Ward's your guy and not Hufanga, because Hufanga's still a playmaker. He's still getting after the quarterback. He's still getting his tackles. He's still getting his pass breakups. Like those things haven't changed. He's just getting beat deep. And I feel like if you put him in a too high situation on Charvarius Ward's side, maybe it's not as big of a deal. And when you go a one high situation, that one high is Jimmy Ward, who we certainly trust in that situation.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just feel like it's possible that I think it's probable the two best safeties on the team are Gibson and Ward. So play them. But again, the whole reason that Ward's playing nickel is because they don't feel confident in Womack or whatever. I get it, but how many busted coverages are you going to allow Talanoa? And I don't know why he's busting these coverages. It almost feels like he got all this positive press and all this, he's a Pro Bowler, that he's like almost trusting his instincts a little too much. Like, yo, can you just play your position, please? Please? Because your instincts are all off right now. And you're lacking experience, and teams are going after you and getting the best of you. So, I don't know. I guess he's got one more week, man. You got David Blau and the Cardinals. Can you please not give up a touchdown this week? If you do, I'm benching you. I'm not the head coach. I'm just quality control.
And the thing is, too, is that we knew that his speed was an issue, a potential issue. I'm not going to say it was an issue, but his instincts could make up for it when he's right. The problem is he hasn't been right. I don't think his speed is that much of an issue. I think it's his
the instincts. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. The problem, it's not that he's getting he's in man-to-man coverage and he got beat by a step or two.
Right.
He's not in the frame. He's busting coverages. He's over here when he should be over there. You can't do that. You can't freaking freelance because, Ronnie Lott could. Good things would happen when Ronnie Lott would freelance, but apparently you're not getting those results. Maybe Troy Polamalu could, but you can't stop freelancing right now. Otherwise, they should put Jimmy Ward back there or bring back Jaquiski Tart. Because you say one thing about Jaquiski Tart, he didn't freaking freelance. No,
but he also wasn't a playmaker. So
no, but he didn't give up freaking touchdowns.
Yeah, well, he didn't catch interceptions either.
I'm just saying. At this point, right now, I'll take slow and steady Jaquiski over freaking, there's another touchdown Talanoa. So
you know what's interesting? Here's what's interesting. When you go look at his snap counts and where he's lined up, the one game in the last 5 where he didn't give up a touchdown was the game where he had the most snaps in coverage, playing strictly free safety and not in the box. Very interesting. I don't know what to make of that. You would think, okay, put him more near the box. That would solve the issue. But the one game he wasn't a problem was the game where he was just strictly playing free safety. So I don't know.
Well, I feel like he's new. The book wasn't out on him until recently, and now every team that hits the Niners is trying to get after him deep. So what's the adjustment? I don't know.
Well, no, and I'm saying over the last 5 though.
Yeah,
over the last 5. Yeah.
All right. 2.0H says Kyle for sure over Harbs. At least his teams have a chance to win. Harbs team down 21 right after the game starts. Word? Is that? Wow, I don't remember that. But I don't want to rehash history. Stop stressing me out, says Tinker. No, that's what I do for a living. Number 38. Hello. Tinker. No, it's 29. Hey, Grant, how can we think of getting rid of Lance when we clearly need all our quarterbacks almost every year? I know it's very complicated. There's a lot of reasons to not want to get rid of Lance. It just seems to me that if the Niners feel that Brock is their starting quarterback and they're going to make Trey Lance a backup again, that's wrong. It just seems like from Lance's perspective, from his agent's perspective, like you got to let him go eventually. He needs to play. And if you're not going to let him play on this team, even though I don't know, you got to do right by a kid eventually, man. That's how I feel. If you want Brock to be your quarterback, great, man. Let Trey go play somewhere, please.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would prefer to keep. I agree with what Scoozy's saying, but then the flip side is, at some point, it's just enough's enough. There was rumor that Jordan Love, after this season, if Rodgers comes back, is also going to request a trade, which is fair. He's going to be going into
Those two are
year
very
5
similar, man.
or year
Those
4.
Very similar. Yeah,
I get it.
Like they need to play. Jordan Love, Trey Lance need to play, and they need to be embraced by a team that's willing to play them. Joe Vell says, "Hold up, Jesse. Kyle in Atlanta is not his fault. He was not the head coach. The head coach makes the final now, not then. I wish we could stop blaming him for real. We don't need to rehash 2016.
I don't. Yeah, because I talked about how he can't blow another 10-point lead. I don't put that solely on him, but when the next 2 exits you had as a head coach were also the same situation, it's not the Atlanta thing was not solely on him. You're right, he was not the head coach, but that is in addition to the 2 head coaching spots that he lost when he was also up 10 in a playoff game. So he's done this now.
Yeah, Keith says, "Oh yeah, 8-year and of Stuart Scott passing. All right,
already, wow. Damn, wow. Time R. flies."
Lenore switch with T. With Tinker. Matthew Sanders says, "I'll ask y'all again. Would you rather have Huff have no impact or give up a TD and get you a TD in the same game?"
I remember when he asked.
Both are net zero. Which would you rather have? But he's not. But that's the thing. He's not giving you it. He's not scoring a TD every game. He hasn't intercepted a pass since week 10. He is not a net zero player. He is a net negative right now. Well, so the last 7 weeks. So can he turn it around, or are you going to let this be the reason you don't go to the Super Bowl? Because what's funny is we're really focused on the quarterback position, but the main reason the Niners didn't go to the Super Bowl last year was the strong safety position. And that could be the case again this year. So, D'Amico, Kyle, think hard, figure this out.
And Matt, just to be fair, my answer hasn't changed. I'll take the 1-1.
Hey, man, I wish Hufanga was a 1-1. If he were a 1-1, I'd take him too. Greg T says, "Can you help Jesse with his merch hats?"
Oh, he wants me to. I don't know. I think he wants. I don't know if he's one of them, but there's a lot of people that have been asking for Last Second Sports hats because I always rock flat brim hats or whatever. They're like, you should just do a Last Second Sports one and whatever. So I don't know. At some point, I will eventually.
Dave says, "What's up, guys? Killing it as always. I bet my guy you'd hit 60K before 2023. So maybe close. Before my birthday in 9 days. Oh, well, keep it up. Both of you. Peas play Mason over CMC next week. Too much CMC every week since arrival. That's one of the most improbable things about this season is that he hasn't gotten injured, given how they've used him. At all. Andy Reid has only won Super Bowl, so why is he top? I don't think it's that controversial to say that he's in the top tier of head coaches. I don't because he's done it with multiple franchises across multiple decades in multiple core. He's made he like Shanahan has made multiple average quarterbacks or below average quarterbacks play way better than what they are, and he's done it for such a long time and done it at a high level. Yep. Gunzy says, bench your Pro Bowl strong safety. Nah, man, Raiders game is a huge overreaction. He can clean it up. It's not just the Raiders game though. It's like the last 7 weeks, his quarterback rating he's given up is 144. So he's got to, I don't know, man, show me something against Arizona. What's Huff's coverage grade? Not your best take, Grant. I'm taking this from Pro Football Focus. His coverage. The last 7 games, hold on, I'll give you the numbers. I'll give you the numbers right now. 18 of 13 for 186 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. 18 targets, 13 catches, 186 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks since week 10. According to Pro Football Focus. I can tell you, his coverage rate on the year is 68, but it's in a steady decline. Yeah. A steady decline over the last. Clearly teams have done research on Huff. Yup. You got to go somewhere on this defense, and he's the guy to go to. It's still Niners-Buffalo Super Bowl. Man! Probably. All
I
right.
hope so. I'm low key rooting for Buffalo after what happened for sure, and I'm a big Josh Allen guy. But man, that's they're losing a lot of players at the wrong time. It's going to be tough for them.
Who was the unsung hero of the 49ers offense?
I'm going to go with Aaron Banks because he was replacing a Pro Bowl left guard. Somebody who left in free agency, got paid a lot of money. We knew it was going to happen. But one thing that I said about Banks, I was never in the, oh, Banks isn't good or he can't be good. None of that. One thing I did say was, even if Banks comes out on fire, there's no way that he can play at the level that a Pro Bowl left guard did last year. So no matter what, you're taking a step back. I was wrong. I think he's playing every bit as good as Laken Tomlinson ever did in a 49er uniform, if not better. Nobody expected that. And I think with the quarterback carousel that they've had, some of the other injuries they've had, Aaron Banks has to be that guy. And we're talking about somebody who doesn't get the credit. I mean, unsung hero is somebody that doesn't necessarily get credit but deserves some. Banks is that guy for me.
He's been great this year. The thing that's interesting about Banks and Spencer Burford, who have both been really good for young offensive linemen, is I feel like so Banks is going to miss a game at least. Daniel Brunskill will replace him. I think Daniel Brunskill will be just as good as Aaron Banks. There's something about Daniel Brunskill. He's quite good. So he could be the unsung hero too, just having a guy like that. But I'm going to go skill position. I like Banks. It's a good call. Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is really good, and he's on this team full of very high-priced weapons. So he doesn't get that many opportunities. Like, he'll get 2, 3, maybe 4 on a good day. But the opportunities are always like when the Niners are down. You know, it's like 1st and 20, 3rd and 11. You know, like when things have gone awry and they're like, they need someone to bail them out. And it's like, should we call on our $12 billion running back or our $20 million wide receiver or our first-round wide receiver or our $16 million tight end? We got to call Juwan. Juwan, we need you, buddy. And he's like, I got you. I love that about him. He is like the life jacket. He's their life jacket.
Yeah.
He's the life jacket. He's great. He's so good. And frankly, you could argue he got 54 targets this year. You could argue he should have got 74. If you were on another team.
He's good. And especially, like you said, in third down situations. I mean, it's third down and Juwan for a reason. And you're right. I mean, in case of emergency break glass, there's Juwan Jennings. And he's kind of been that guy all season long. And what's crazy about him, he's not uber fast or anything like that. He always finds a way to be open. And there have been a lot of times where they've thrown to him on a big third down and they've thrown a couple yards short of the sticks. And he's done a fantastic job to get there, get the first down, fight for first downs, break tackles. He and not to mention phenomenal blocker on the edge. I mean, if you run his way, he's usually going to clear you a path. He's a really, really good blocker, and that's not something that's talked about a lot with wide receivers. In this offense, it's uber important, and he's probably the best out of all of them at doing it.
Juwan Jennings is how Kyle Shanahan sees himself as a wide receiver. Big, slow, tough, gritty, good blocker. Quick, good shuttle time. I asked Kyle Shanahan today. He made a quip about how he was slow. So I was like, okay, what was your 40 time? He wouldn't say. He doesn't want people to know. He said 4.2. And he said, my whole life, I always pretended that my hamstring was sore the day we had to run 40 times because I didn't want anyone to get an official time on me, but I was good at the shuttle. Dude, he is, or he wishes, he sees himself as Juwan Jennings. That is Kyle Shanahan.
Jennings embodies everything he wanted to be.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. Tinker, thank you for the $50 donation. That was very generous. Keith, Andy Reid makes quarterbacks like Lincoln Riley make Heisman winners. He's top tier for sure. I mean, I think I don't think that's very controversial to say. Darth Fabe says, call the same offense for Trey like the Texans game. No read options. It's not Brock game. It wasn't Trey's game either. All them Jimmy dudes quiet now. I like it. Probably because Brock is white, though. Wow. No, I'm with you, though. Like, if you could call the game that way for Trey against Houston in a must-win game, you should do that again.
For sure.
What adjustments will they do on D moving forward? Well, maybe they'll move Ward to safety. I don't know. Or maybe they'll have more blitzes. I don't understand how you have a game with 0 sacks with this team. Come on.
Blitz.
0?
It's happened, and it's happened quite a few. I mean, at least 3 or 4 times, right? It happened against Tampa Bay, which, okay, I understand that. It's Tom Brady. He figures out, I get that. But it happened against Stidham. It happened against them. And then there was another game that it happened, too, that I can't remember. It escapes me.
To me, that's a fair question for a defensive coordinator. Like, any D coordinator is going to look good if you can get pressure with 4. And the Niners can get pressure with 4 90% of the time. But in that one game when it's not happening, there's nothing you can do to generate pressure. Then how good are you? So that's again, I'm not writing off D'Amico. Like, he could answer these questions in the playoffs right now as they win a Super Bowl, and boom, he's a legend. So it's just these are the things that are at stake in the next month.
Well, he's going to have to find a way to overcome that, Grant, because we talked about Kyle Shanahan blowing 10-point leads. A big part of that has been this defensive line was dominant in 2019, dominant last year. Yeah. Both times that defensive line wore down when they needed the most and just seemed gassed at the end of big games and couldn't get it done. And I think that's something they've relied on year in and year out. We thought last year would be different because there was more depth in 2019. It ended up being the same issue. They just couldn't get after the quarterback in big time moments. If that happens again, you have to plan it's going to. How are you going to overcome that? How do you overcome that? They've got to have an answer.
We've been saying it's the 2022 defense is so much better than the 2019 defense. Like, no. The 2019 defense had a dominant 4-man pass rush to the point where you didn't ever have to generate pressure because they had Buckner and D Ford, mostly Buckner. Now you have Bosa. And Armstead's good, but not Buckner as a pass rusher. Jordan Willis is good, but not D Ford. So it's not the same. And now it's on D'Amico Ryans to generate some pressure at the right time. And I think he's shown that his blitzes are effective, but I don't know how often he calls them. So now's the time.
Yeah.
Since everyone has been comparing Purdy to the GOATs after 5 games over under 69.5 Super Bowl wins for Brock Purdy's career. 69.5?
Come on, man.
Ayuk, he's the real number 1 wide receiver, says Keith Murphy.
I love Ayuk. I love Ayuk.
JJ is the new KB. Yep. Yeah. Ashton, thank you. Matthew, Jennings is Crabtree's hands plus a Bolden's body. Oh, I like that. That's very descriptive. I like that. Glass half full guy. Great show, Grant. Curious if you'd play CMC Debo for at least a quarter so they're not rusty come playoffs. We said this earlier. I would not play CMC. I'm not worried about rust with him. I would play Debo because I don't think he's done much this year. Any idea if Minnesota is playing their guys this week? Why would they? If you're Minnesota, are you going for 2 seed to play Green Bay again? I haven't thought 1 minute about Minnesota. Not 1 second. Not at all.
I don't think it matters. I mean, they're playing Chicago, I think, which Fields isn't playing. They should win that game either way. It's just up to the 49ers. If the 49ers take care of business, it doesn't matter.
Tinker says, y'all are covering the best team in the world, Craig. In the world, Craig. San Fran. Love
Great.
it.
I love it.
Grant, Brunskill rotated with Burf, so he'd be in shape. Brunskill's a good-ass player. He's hella good.
He is. Yeah.
Do you think Arizona regrets taking Murray over Bosa? I think yes, and they regret extending Murray. I mean, he got hurt, nothing against him, but okay. Jesse, who's the unsung hero of the defense?
For me, this one's actually pretty easy. I think it's Tayshaun Gibson.
Me too. That's exactly who I wrote. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Hell perfect. Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's perfect. And for me, the reason is he was cut, brought back. He was kind of an afterthought. The only reason he was here was because Ward went down. They needed the extra camp body. They ended up promoting him. And he's just been fantastic all season. So good, in fact, that when Ward came back, he couldn't even get the starting job outright back from him. And Ward was a top 100 player last year. Now, obviously, they needed him in other positions. I'm not saying that Ward can't beat him out outright, but man, Gibson's been really, really good this year, especially for a guy who was left left for scraps by previous teams. I mean, what was his career supposed to be after this? He was supposed to be fighting for playoff spots, practice squads maybe. He's been a bona fide starter all year long. Absolutely, it's Tayshaun Gibson.
So this last week, he seals the victory. Nick Bosa gets the quarterback hit. Ball pops up. It's just a punt. Gibson catches it. Routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. Today, we're talking to him in his locker and asking him about, like, are those balls that are just hanging up there forever, are those the toughest to intercept? And he's like, yes. Because, it feels like forever and a lot's going through your mind. And I'm standing there thinking, oh, this is the Jaquiski Tart moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had been on the field instead of Tart, no offense to Tart, the Niners would have won that game most likely. Like, Gibson, and again, this is why I'm feeling like the starting safety tandem should be him and Ward. Like, if it had been him and Ward last year, they probably would have won that game and gone to the Super Bowl. He's that good, and he makes the routine plays. Really, really good. He's a hell of a player, and he's gotten like no press this year. Everyone's like, yeah, I don't know who that guy is. He's going to come back down to earth eventually. No, he's giving up a quarterback rating of 69.6 this year.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
He's been really good. To be fair, he's had a couple in his chest that he's dropped. Bears game comes to mind. There was another game, but overall, he's been near the ball all season long. He's been really, really good. Really, really good.
I'm glad we agreed on that one. Justin says, hot take, retired J.J. Watt to the Niners next year.
And he's probably under contract, so if he comes out of retirement, he'd probably have to go back to the Cardinals. I think. I don't know for sure, but
Keith Murphy says, listen to Falk say he talks to CMC regularly because CMC reached out to him because of their similar game thoughts. Falk spoke highly of him. Wow. I really like Christian, man. He's very mature. Very mature.
If he played quarterback, he would be the perfect guy to lead your franchise. He's a CEO. Like, he runs things like he's a CEO.
No doubt. I appreciate him. He's good. All right. Let's do it. Why are the odds stacked against the 49ers winning the Super Bowl this year, Jesse?
Well, so everybody talks about the Brock Purdy thing. No rookie quarterbacks ever won a Super Bowl. We get all that. But I decided to start looking at win streaks going into the playoffs and how that played into things. The 49ers should be riding a 10-game winning streak going into the playoffs, which on the surface sounds great. But when you look at it, since 2000, there's been 6 teams that have had at least a 10-game winning streak going into the playoffs. 3 of them lost their first game. Back then, it was divisional games. So 3 of them lost their first game. Only 2 of those teams have made it to the Super Bowl. Both of those teams were led by Tom Brady. And only one of those 6 teams has actually won a Super Bowl. So I think a lot of us have this thought like, oh, you don't, it's tough to win 14 in a row. You want to get a loss in there to kind of break things up. You hear a lot of people talk about it, but there was never really numbers behind it. And so I wanted to go look at the numbers and see if that was a myth, just something we think, or if that's real. Unfortunately, it is a very, very real thing. So when you couple that with the rookie quarterback, a team that did it, a team that didn't win the Super Bowl but was on a 14-game winning streak riding into the playoffs, was actually that Steelers team that had a rookie Ben Roethlisberger. Again, they didn't win the Super Bowl. So similar to what the 49ers have, I don't think it's the end of the world, Grant. I mean, I would prefer a winning streak over a losing streak going into the playoffs or backing in. But there is some history there that says that's not necessarily the best way to go into the playoffs.
That's a very interesting historical context. The one thing I did want to bring up, because there's always an exception.
For
sure. It's important to look at the exceptions. The 1984 49ers. The 1984 49ers. They almost went undefeated. They lost 1 game, week 7. Just like this team. Never lost again. That team legitimately did have a great defense. I think they gave up 18 points per game. This Niners defense giving up like less than that, but they're getting exposed recently. It's been done by this franchise in the past. But so I mean, this you could take heart in that. It could be done. But not just that, like rookie quarterback, there's it's never been done. Ever. been done.
Ever.
So there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, there. Like I said, I obviously every season is different. I'm not saying that's the reason they can't win the Super Bowl, but it is interesting that's because, like I said, a lot of people talk about it like, oh man, it's a lot to do, but actually putting numbers to it is like, this is a real thing. And when you look at the guys that have won it since 2000, or the guy that won it, it was like, oh, it was Tom Brady. Like, of course, Tom Brady was the one to win it, but he also was in a situation where he lost it to the Giants when they went 16-0. So yeah, it's an interesting real stat. The other difference is this, Grant. Unlike those other teams who got a bye week, and this could be a good thing because you get to keep that momentum going. I just said that 3 of those 6 teams lost in their first playoff game, which for them was divisional round. The 49ers, they're not going to have that break, barring Philly somehow losing this week, which I don't see happening. They're not going to have the break. So they're going to be able to ride this all the way through and keep that hot streak going, which then comes down to the old way of thinking, okay, if you have a bye, do you rest? How does that work? Does it hurt you? The 49ers most likely aren't going to have to deal with that. And that is a major difference.
True. Let's play the over-under game. I want to play the over-under game because I didn't win last week, and I wanted to. And I gotta win this week. That's true.
Grant, we tied. We tied.
We really underestimated the Raiders, right?
We did. We both underestimated the Raiders. What's interesting is you were on the money on the offensive side, and I was on the money on the defensive side. So that's where the split came in. So,
okay.
All right, let's get into it. Offense. 49ers, do they throw for 235.5 yards this week?
235.5?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Over. No McCaffrey. I'm thinking no McCaffrey. They're going to throw more.
But McCaffrey really, really helps too.
In the passing game, he does.
I'm going to go over as well. I don't feel good about it, especially because you picked over. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. Okay. Over under 145.5 rushing yards for the offense.
I'm going to say under.
Okay. I'm going to go over.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of offense.
I think Niners go over.
Fair enough.
All right. Over under 0.5 touchdowns for George Kittle, who's been on an absolute tear lately.
Under. He's another guy who'd be great to sit in this game. I mean, George.
There's no way they're sitting him, though.
No.
So George isn't going to let that happen. Come on. He wants to play. I'm going to go over. I think he does get another touchdown. He's been money.
Yeah, he's been money. Yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting one.
All right.
Use check. Over under 0.5 touches this game. He got a couple last game, but he normally doesn't.
I'm going to say over because ever since I said that thing after the game, I feel like they've been trying to give him a touch. How I said that all he does is go in motion. He's going to get one touch. He's going to get 1 or 2 touches in this game because I made it a thing.
I'm going to go over as well because I don't think CMC plays and they're going to do some, interesting things
tricky
for them.
Stuff.
So
yeah.
I agree. Okay. Yeah. Over under 0.5 turnovers for this offense. Do they turn the ball over?
Oh yeah. This is going to be a sloppy performance for sure. Yes.
Because the rain
because it's just, the rain and the fact that they're not, taking the Cardinals seriously at all. Because why would you?
You know what? I would agree with you if they didn't just do this against the Raiders. Like the Raiders were like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that again. Hopefully they don't fall victim to the same thing because they admitted that they didn't take that. Bosa said he didn't take Stidham seriously. So, they admitted it. So there's no way you're doing that 2 weeks in a row. I would hope not.
Okay.
I don't think they turn the ball over, Grant. It's not happening.
Love it.
Not happening.
Okay.
Unless JJ Watt does it because, that'd be cool for him on his way out in a loss. Okay. Defense, over under 2.5 sacks.
Over. I think they got something to prove. And I think Bosa's trying to set history. So, make history.
Okay. I'm going to go under. If it's a rain game, especially, I just feel like sloppy footing's not going to be the best. I don't think Bosa plays more than a quarter and a half probably. So I'm going to go under.
Okay.
All right. Over under 2.5 or 205.5 passing yards given up.
Under. David Blau, never heard of you. Under.
Do you want to know what you said last week about Stidham?
Under.
You could have said 67.5 and I would have said under.
I do remember that. Yeah.
400 yards later.
Everything I said about Stidham last week, I'm carrying over to Blau.
Okay, you're just doubling down. I like it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I'm agreeing with you. I agree with you. No Hopkins, David Blau. I mean, wasn't this guy just cut from the Lions roster? Wasn't he a part of Hard Knocks and didn't make that team?
No.
Yeah.
You're out.
I agree with you. Okay. No. Over under 75.5 rushing yards given up by the defense.
Under, they can't run the ball to save their lives. Terrible.
Perfect. I'm going over. Yeah. I believe in James Conner. I don't know why, but I do.
Okay.
All right. Over under 1.5 forced turnovers.
For the Niners defense?
Mm-hmm.
Over. That's my reasoning.
What?
Over.
Why? Because over.
Because the Cardinals are terrible. David Blau, that's why.
It's going to be Hufanga, isn't it? He's going to get one. All the ish. It's going to be Hufanga that gets one. I'm going to go under. I think they get one turnover.
Okay.
That's fair. Last one. Over under 0.5 touchdowns against. Does Arizona get into the end zone this week one time?
I think they will. I think there's something wrong with the Niners defense, and I think they're going to give up some points. So, yeah, I think they're going to give up one touchdown at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll give up 10 points this game, so I agree with you. They'll give up the one. All right, that's over under. Let's not tie at the very least. I would rather lose than tie. There's just no finality in tying.
Tying sucks.
Yeah.
Darius Mills says, stop with the tart stuff. There were 9 minutes left, 2 more drives, and didn't get a first down. That's true. Good point. Tinker says, yeah, Niners been at home since week 8, all but Mexico. Wait, that was a home too. The one game that wasn't a home game was the one in Seattle, and that was actually a semi-close game.
Yeah.
Dave says, anyone into this 10-letter hype? Joe Montana 10, Steve Young 10, Brock Purdy 10. Wow. And I'm a giant Lance supporter. I like Purdy. Def better than Goff-Lopolo. I just think Trey has more potential. Is that true? It's Joe Montana 10, Steve Young. Wow. Trey Lance is 9. Damn it. He's gonna have to change the spelling of his name.
Trey Lance with 2 E's.
Or Trey with like an E at the end, just because. Sean says, over under Buddy Baker, low hits, knee or below on Kittle, 2.5. Dude always injures Kittle every year.
Oh, my God. Jimmy's not playing, so under. Jimmy's the one that leaves him hung out to dry every time.
That's true. A rookie quarterback will win the Super Bowl one day. Why not Brock?
For sure.
He's got the 10-letter name.
Yeah.
I have a 9-letter name. That's why I'm not a quarterback. Me and Trey, we could have been so close. Keith Murphy says, question, how many demons could Aaron exercise if he beats us? I'm getting the same vibes from them that I felt about us last year. Thoughts?
I mean, he could exercise all of them, but it's not going to happen probably.
Yeah. Wave 9 Mystic says, what will be said about BP if he loses to Aaron? That he's not as good as Aaron.
I mean, this is the thing. People get so high and so low. If Brock Purdy comes out, throws 3 interceptions, is the reason they lose any of these playoff games, I'm not looking at Brock Purdy and going, oh, he's all of a sudden a bum. I'm still looking at him and evaluating him the same way I am today. I like some things about him. There's some things that I think he can clean up. I ultimately don't think he'll be better than Trey Lance. That's my personal thought, but that's not going to change whether he balls out in the first game of the playoffs or he loses. I'm not changing my mind based off of those things. So
Jesse urges you to stop getting so high and so low.
No, I mean, as a fan, I get it. Yeah.
Stop getting so high.
I see what you're doing. Okay, I got
Please, yeah. Tinker says, I'm still stressing him out. Yeah, that's what I do for a living.
He told you that.
That's what I do. G.I. Jones says Jeff Garcia too. Yeah. Jeff Garcia too. I don't know.
It's a 49er quarterback thing.
Yeah. Stop getting so high though and so low. This is, got a long season left and we got to keep our heads about us. What are you doing?
I feel like this is what Kyle Shanahan's telling the team right now. Like, just one game at a time. Go win this thing. That's me. Yeah. That's me on this show.
People think I don't like Kyle Shanahan. I really do. And I don't know if people have seen our little like interactions and press conferences recently, but he's in a great mood and I'm not questioning him anymore. And he has a really great, sarcastic, dry sense of humor that's so dry, it's almost hard to tell that he's being funny, but I appreciate it. He's hilarious to me. He's a lot of fun. I like
I'm sure
questions.
Kyle's actually a really good guy, but
It seems like he's funny.
It
He's
would
just
be
the kind of guy
stressful
that
to be
doesn't
a-
like being questioned, which I can relate. I don't like it. People question me on the Cohn phone, and I'll get short with them. I'll get a little, like
a little snippy.
I get a little snippy too, so I understand it. I mean, he gets a little snippy with me. Fair enough, but I really do like him, and I think he's quite funny. So
Comes with the territory, though. Comes with the territory.
Comes with the territory. It's what it is. I'm not there to be his friend. I'm there to throw fastballs at the dome. And he's there to get out at the domes. Got to brush him off the plate if he's crowding it. Are you streaming any more tonight?
I am, yeah. 5 minutes. Come over to Last Second Sports. Sunil and I pushed the show from yesterday to tonight. So we got 5 more topics for you. Probably good 40, 45 minutes. So, yeah, let's keep it going. Last Second Sports. Tap in.
What I like about Sunil, he's so real. He's almost too real. Tinker says playoffs, baby. Can it come? I wish it was this week. This week has been a tough week as a content creator. It's like, Cardinals, could you not be so trash? Could you give us something to talk about, please?
Anything? At least we get the Hopkins matchup? Remember all the hate between Hopkins and Ward? We don't get nothing. Literally nothing.
Nothing. Anyway, go tune into Last Second Sports. Enjoy yourself. Have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow with the coach.